Hello and welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Stan.
Hello and greetings.
Today's episode of Epic Fantasy Reviews is all about The Savage Sword of Conan issue number 1. This issue is honestly a pretty funny one. It's not exactly savage, I find. Well, Red Sonja kind of gets savage at one point, but it's not bad. It's just, I just find it funny. I can't read it without laughing my head off. The story starts with Conan getting into a brawl. He almost trips over a finger. Red Sonja taunts him, pretty much belittles his skills. It's Red Sonja. She has to do it, I guess. And, of course, Conan tells her, no, it's because of this finger. They go to talk into a pub. Things heat up when one of the local courtesans, or ladies of the night, happens to notice Conan, fairly taken with Conan, approaches him, and Red Sonja immediately starts to get angry and jealous.
Especially when Conan says, I do have a couple of gold pieces
For her, and I do owe her a drink, implying that apparently he's running a tab and he needs to pay it off. It doesn't seem like the lady is particularly bothered about it, and she doesn't seem initially too hostile towards Red Sonja, but Red Sonja calls her things like two-chin and calls her old baggage. The courtesan, of course, insults Red Sonja back, who then clambers to her feet. And here's something that's interesting. It's shown that, contrary to expectation, Red Sonja does not seem particularly tall. She barely comes up to this girl's shoulder, it seems. That said, Red Sonja then proceeds to punch the lady, and this other woman then runs off to fetch the guards, angry and bitter with Red Sonja, and Conan has to deal with the guards. Of course, Red Sonja and him slip away, discover a sorcerer trying to use the courtesan to sacrifice her to an elder one, I think. And, of course, they save the day with Conan rescuing the girl and Red Sonja, to an extent, and slaying the sorcerer, with the courtesan agreeing to basically let the charges be dropped, just simply grateful for her life. In turn, though, at the end, it's very obvious Conan and Red Sonja are walking away to go find themselves a room, with Red Sonja pleased that she won the guy for the end of the day, or the night, and Conan pleased to just, I guess, have some fun with Red Sonja. And I guess this means he doesn't have to pay too much. I'm just saying.
He doesn't have to run a tab, just a tab for trouble.
Yeah. This story ending, it may seem like it's implied that Red Sonja is not returning the affection, telling him, I want that arm back where it belongs. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she's telling him that she's rejecting him. For one thing, linguistically, this sentence could mean anything from, it belongs around my hip, it belongs touching me in certain places. Tone and context are everything with this scene. And given that they've just won a battle and that Red Sonja was jealous and possessive over Conan throughout the comic, it's very likely this is a celebratory mood and she's flirting with him. And I know someone's going to say, no, with Red Sonja, always assume that it's a rejection. But we got to bear in mind, earlier in the comic, she got very steamed and brought on untold amounts of trouble upon the two, but with her petty jealousy of what was probably a slightly younger woman who seems to have some experience with Conan, while Red Sonja had not yet had any fun time with him. And one has to bear in mind that by this time, Conan has gone from being a clumsy 15-year-old boy that she was leading on and leaving to pick up after her messes, to being probably around his mid-20s and has come into his own. So obviously, the situation between the two has changed, and Red Sonja is now fairly impressed with him, physically, I imagine, because he's gone from his equivalent of a lanky teenager to being the domineering 6'6" almost giant and impressive near god of a man that he is. But anyways, archetypally, Red Sonja is obviously a female warrior archetype. From what I understand it, the Red Sonja comics kept getting rebooted. The other thing is, I think with Red Sonja, she's trapped by status quo, because that's the problem with American comics. It's all about the status quo rather than getting anywhere. The only runs I find for comic books that really got anywhere and didn't care about status quo seem to have been the Dark Horse Conan and Cull comics, where they're determined to actually advance the plot. Red Sonja sadly never fell to Dark Horse and thus never got to have the kind of character arc she so rightfully deserved. And I do find this a pity, as this story was really good. And I like seeing this other side of Red Sonja. Normally, you only see her being a fairly aggressive warrior. Here, yes, she was aggressive, but she was possessive and jealous. Under Dark Horse's management, I think that there could have been a great Red Sonja run. That being said, should Red Sonja get a movie? Certainly. I would look forward to it if they approached the character of this sort of character. and if they manage to also get the rights to Conan to an extent, for the two to have some character interactions. It'd be interesting to have a Hyborian Age expanded cinematic universe of sorts, though only if they go with a TV series point of view for Conan. I really think they need at least 6 to 7 seasons for him to properly flesh out all his stories and start to tackle Hour of the Dragon. And now we come to the best part of the show, our rating. How would you rate The Savage Sword of Conan issue 1?
Okay, Savage Sword issue 1. That would be a solid 2.25.
I'll say a 2. Fun, it's fine, and that's all you want at the end of the day from this issue. The main strength of it is how funny it is. But that's all we've got for you now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button as though you were Red Sonja smashing her enemies to pieces.